Namaskar, I'm Assistant Professor Kritika Dev from LJ School of Law. Today we'll be dealing with, I guess, the most awaited topic under IPC, that is culpable homicide and murder. Terms with which you're very much familiar, but still we need lots of reading under this very topic. Right? Murder is something everybody must have heard it. Murder A, murdered B, a murder took place, something very familiar. But what is culpable homicide and what is murder? So today we'll be dealing with part one of culpable homicide and murder. So we'll be because they are actually related, and how are they related? We are going to see in today's lecture. So that is the reason I've mentioned both in part one and part two. So today we'll be dealing with part one of it, where you will get a complete idea of one of the topics, and the other is there in part two. So let's begin with it. So here you can see culpable homicide, question mark, question mark, question mark, and question mark. Now we will see what culpable homicide is. What actually does this mean? So firstly, as you can see here on your screen, that culpable and homicide, two terms have differently been derived from two other terms, not a combination of a term, right? So it has not been derived from a single term. Again, culpable has been derived from one term, and homicide has been derived from another term, right? So let's see, what do we understand by culpable? By culpable is being derived from culpabilis, right? So of course the terms are Latin, so it is the pronunciation might differ, but it has been derived from culpabilis, which means worthy of blaming, right? Culpabilis, which means worthy of blaming. Now, homicide has been derived from homicidium. Yes, it is homicidium, which means killing of man. So together it means blaming somebody for killing of a man. Or worthy, here it is no worthy, making it is an offense. Worthy of blaming, it means of course you have something to blame, and blaming for killing of a man, which is of course being treated as the biggest offense among all, killing somebody, right? So these are the places from, or these are the terms rather, from which culpable homicide is being derived. Now, when it comes to homicide, it is of two types. As you can see on your respective screens, homicide is not always bad, or not bad as in it is not always unlawful. It could be even lawful. Now, how could that be lawful? Homicide, as you can see, divided into two parts: lawful homicide and unlawful homicide. Now, what do we understand by it? So when it comes to the lawful homicide, as I was saying, it is excusable homicide and justifiable homicide. Now, are you getting something in your mind when I'm saying this, trying to recollect something? Yes, when it comes to lawful homicide, that has been mentioned in the general exceptions under IPC. Right? Are you getting something in your mind, something to recollect? Yeah, that is from section 76 to section 106 of Indian Penal Code, where you'll see all the exceptions. And the exception says, even when somebody is being killed by you, but you will be protected. Right? Somebody has been killed by you, still you are protected. Now, those are known as general exceptions of the whole IPC. Now, what do you mean by excusable? Excusable means when you are excused even after killing somebody. So when it comes to section 80 by accident, if you remember, now those are, again, if we talk about those sections in detail, it is like 5 to 6 sessions altogether. So I'll just give a brief about all those sections. And here it is: if it has been done by accident, right, by in doing a lawful act in a lawful manner. Let me give you a very, very quick example. First, you were there in a you were cutting a wood, right, with any of your sharp edged weapon, anything like that, sharp edged, of course, only with that you can cut a wood. And there you could see nobody, and of course cutting a wood is a lawful act. Now you were cutting, suddenly it it slips away from your hand, and there was nobody. But suddenly, one kid came running. He was in such a speed when that very sharp edged weapon was flying in the air, and the kid from that very that very thing got hurt and was dead. So here you were doing a lawful act in a lawful manner, but that was due to accident. Then you will be protected under this very section. Then, of course, in order to avoid another harm, if it is done by a person of unsound mind or a person under intoxication, right? So many things. So those are excusable homicides, right? So in order to actually understand this, you need to go through those sections as well. Now, justifiable homicide. Now, what do we understand by justifiable? If you remember, and if you know section 76, 77, 78, 79, when, let me give you one quick example. If capital punishment is being given, then the other person will be killed. That is killing, right? Homicide, it means killing. So of course that person would be killed. But the judgment is of course justifiable, and that homicide is justifiable in nature because that is by following the due process. So it is a justifiable homicide, right? So when we read section 76, 77, 78, 79, we'll see all these justifiable homicide or anything done in the right or while exercising the right of private defense. That is from section 96 to 106. That is also an justifiable homicide, right? Somebody is trying to commit rape on you, you kill the other person. That is a justifiable homicide, right? So it is about the lawful homicide having two parts, excusable homicide and justifiable homicide. Is that clear? Now, unlawful homicides have culpable homicide, murder, dowry death, death by negligence, right? Murder is what we are going to read. Culpable homicide we'll be reading in this lecture. Dowry death, that is section 304B. I hope you have gone through that very lecture of mine. And then death by negligence, that is there under section 304A of Indian Penal Code. So when it comes to these killing of people, killing in these categories, then it will be unlawful homicide and the other party will be prosecuted and will be punished for the same, right? Okay, with this, let's, it is generally been said that what is the difference, murder, culpable homicide, state the difference and everything. But it was clearly mentioned, or it was clearly been given by the Supreme Court under Rampal Singh versus State of UP in 2002, where the Supreme Court stated that culpable homicide is a genus and murder is its species. It means if this whole thing is culpable homicide, then this dot is murder, right? Which means that in every murder there is culpable homicide, right? That in every murder there will be culpable homicide for sure. The murder might have some, of course, extremity in them. It is of a more extreme nature, but it will always have culpable homicide in it. So it is the aggravated form of culpable homicide, you can say, because it has been stated by the Honorable Supreme Court that culpable homicide is the genus, and murder is its species, right? So of course they're going to have the element which are related to each other, but it is of more aggravated form. And how is that of an aggravated form? That we will see. But this is a case law that you can state. If somebody asks you about the difference and everything, there you can state, of course it is of an aggravated nature, that we will see. But in every murder there is an element of culpable homicide, right? And this is what it makes it the genus, and this is the species, right? Okay. Now, culpable homicide. Now, culpable homicide is of two types. Culpable homicide amounting to murder and culpable homicide not amounting to murder. Correct? So, culpable homicide amounting to murder is mentioned under section 300, which we even call it as murder. And culpable homicide not amounting to murder are the exceptions which are given under section 300, and the exceptions from 1 to 5. Now let's read what culpable homicide is. Now, culpable homicide. Whoever causes death by doing an act with the intention of causing death or with the intention of causing such bodily injury as is likely to cause death, or with the knowledge that he is likely by such act to cause death, commits the offense of culpable homicide. Now, here are the actual ingredients which we will see. Intention to cause death, right? If there is an intention to cause death, then it is culpable homicide. Intention to cause such bodily injury as is likely to cause death, right? If you cause a bodily injury of that nature, for say, if you hit somebody on the spinal, or if you hit somebody on the back, now you knew that it is likely to cause death, and then that person dies, then it is intention to cause such bodily injury as is likely to cause death, right? You were not sure, but likely to cause death. If you put somebody on the spinal, it may harm actually, right? Or if you hit somebody on the head, the other person might die, and the person died, then likely to cause injury. Then, as a result, the other person died with the knowledge that such act is likely to cause death. So here, not only intention but also knowledge is the ingredient, right? So you had the knowledge. You might not have the intention, but you had the knowledge by your very act that that person will be dead, right? You pushed somebody in front of the train, though you did not have the intention, but you had the knowledge. If you'll do so in the on the running track, the person would die. So you had the knowledge. You might not have the intention. So there you can just take the plea that I had no intention, but that person died. But the court will tell you that you had the knowledge. When the track is there and there is a green signal, you had the knowledge that if you push that person on the track, the person will die. Then it will be under this very clause, right? So with this, we can say that these are the ingredients of culpable homicide, and as we have seen, it is the genus and murder is the species. So, of course, the murder is going to have the elements, but in a more aggravated form, right? And these are the essentials of culpable homicide. I hope with this you are clear with culpable homicide, and in the part 2 we'll see murder and also the aggravated form, how it is actually a bit different from it, right? Till then, keep studying, keep revising, and thank you so much for listening.